Hey guys, so it's been a while. My hair has grown a bit. You must have been wondering this whole time what's been happening to Mercedes' hair. I get it, it's super intriguing. So yeah, it's grown. It probably needs a cut at this point, like the back and the sides, but we're just going to move on past that. So, how have you guys been? I hope you've been well. I've been watching lots and lots of booktubes, so I've been able to see how other booktubers are, and obviously I recognise some of you in the comments of other people's videos, but for those of you who I have not seen somewhat on the internet, let me know down below. I mean, you don't know if I've seen you or not, but just, yeah, I hope you're well. Let me know down below, and also just all the things, like let me know what you have read that you've really enjoyed in the last few months, things you have done that you have found have, you know, helped you in the last few months, whether that is to sort of calm you or lessen anxiety or just find some sort of comfort or joy. I would love to know. So I've not really planned this at all, which is classic me. So yeah, I've been gone for a few months. I think I mentioned a couple of videos before the end that I was having problems with my arms and they were really sore. Started sort of mid-April and it just sort of built up and built up to the point where I've been off work since early June now, so I've been off work for quite a while. I thought it was going to be like 2 or 3 week thing and then it's just spiraled. And yeah, so that's the situation. I am seeking like medical help and guidance, so that's covered, but at this moment in time I have sort of been unable to work on a computer in any capacity. So I've managed to try and keep up with my Patreon videos, and a big part of that is because I really miss making content, and the idea of making no content at all I found quite depressing. And so I thought, well, the Patreon ones are the ones I've made like a specific commitment to do, so I have carried on making those, but I have not been present on the channel. And a big part of that is because, like I said, I just can't work on a computer. It bothers my arms and my wrists too much. And then when they get bad, the pain just sort of spreads everywhere. So Johnny's been helping me with my Patreon videos, and he is more than willing to help me with these videos. So if there's any difference in the editing than usual, probably less editing, although I never did that much anyway, it is because Johnny is helping me. And I am probably not doing this myself, although there's probably lots of me sitting beside him, bossing him about, so thank you, Johnny. So I basically, in the last few weeks, in terms of where all the like NHS support has been, I feel like this may be quite a long process. I don't think I'll be going back to work as soon as I would have hoped. And I felt like it could become that I'm like, if I was always like, well, I can't go back to the channel until I feel this amount better, it could be months before I ever came back. And I didn't want it to become a thing where I just never came back, because I really love doing this. I find a lot of happiness and contentment in it, and it's like my favourite thing to do, to read and to be able to talk to people about it and to just, you know, be part of the community, be like an active participant. So I've decided to just do videos as and when I can, to not make a lot of commitments, and to get Johnny to help me. So that is the plan. So I am obviously massively behind on wrapping books up. I don't think I've done a reading wrap up since April, and I've sort of ummed and ahed for the past couple of weeks about how I'm gonna approach this and how I'm gonna wrap these books up, and I don't really know. I feel like doing it, you know, at first I was like, I'm just going to do a May wrap up, then blah blah blah, and then I felt like that's a bit boring. Like at this point, would I click on a video called May wrap up? Maybe not, it's so long ago. And also I just feel like it might be more interesting for me to group the books in certain ways, and it'd be a bit more casual, and like, you know, do review videos on, there's been some amazing books I've read, and do like standalone reviews on them, and then maybe do a video where I just like spin through a lot of the ones where I don't have a lot to say, or there's some genres I've got into that I've not really read before, so I'll sort of bulk those together. So I think that's the plan. I have no idea how quickly they'll come out, because obviously I just don't know what, as and when I'll be, you know, up for filming or editing, and you know, even sometimes when I filmed a Patreon video, it's then taken me days to like be ready to sort of put the time into getting that up, just because I just have, you know, bad days, and usually when I do there's like a run of them. So yeah, I think I'm coming out of I've had a couple of bad weeks, and I'm hoping that I'm sort of coming out of that a little bit, so I'm excited to try and get back into the swing of things as much as possible. So I have been like massively into audiobooks. I have really significantly reduced my physical reading. In the last month I think I've read 1 book physically. I think that was probably a mistake. So I'm trying to avoid that, so I've been massively into audiobooks, which has been really fun. I do really miss physically reading, but there's something amazing that audiobooks have to offer as well, so it sort of swings and roundabouts. And what else did I want to mention? I've obviously been watching lots of TV. I've got really into just sort of binging comfort, like, what would you call them, like talent shows? So stuff like the Great British Bake Off. We've watched all 3 seasons of the professional version of that, which I love. They work in teams, which I really enjoy. We've watched all of Glow Up, which is a makeup programme, excellent. We've watched all of, we've watched loads. There's a sewing one, there's a poshry one. We watched one about houses in Scotland where these like architects went round and like scored all these houses and then decided what the best house was. Just a lot of programmes like that. So yeah, and then I watched like all the Terminator films again, stuff like that. I mean, I have watched some like more intellectual content, but not much, because when I'm in pain I want to watch stuff that's sort of easier or cozier. So that's the vibe. Obviously I've been fucking hating this summer. It has been very fucking hot here. I think it's been getting towards like, so we deal in Celsius here, but it's been getting like, parts of the UK have been close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so they've been like 30, like high 30s. We luckily we only reached low 30s, which is bad enough. So I basically just stayed indoors for days. Luckily my house is quite shaded, so it's not been too bad compared to when we lived in the flat. I just used to carry a water bottle around and just spray myself with it all the time. So that's been okay. We had a bit of a nerve-wracking day when we were about to go out for a walk, and Albus started like shaking his paw. It was really weird, and we were like, what the hell is going on here? We had a massive panic. We called the vets. We tried to force our way into an emergency appointment even though they had no appointments. I was like, is there anywhere open in the whole of Norfolk? I'm willing to take him anywhere. And then they agreed to see us in a couple of hours, but obviously we couldn't go in with him because of all the COVID stuff. And then it started to look better and better, and then he was fine, and then he let me touch the whole paw and he wasn't bothered, and then we called him downstairs for treats and he ran downstairs, and then he like ran through the house and chased his toy and he just didn't give a shit. We were like, what the hell happened here? And then we called the vets obviously and cancelled the appointment, and we're like, sorry, that's really embarrassing. And then we realised there was a wasp in the house. So our cats are indoor cats. Albus is a like fucking ninja. He catches anything that comes in the house, but I don't think he's ever encountered a wasp before. The wasp was super drowsy. He landed on my neck and then just, I was like, oh, there's a wasp here. So we think what happened is Albus caught the wasp and the wasp stung his paw, and obviously it was just a bit sore for a little bit and then it went. So obviously we looked up online and it says if they're allergic they would have been like foaming at the mouth and like it would have been immediately horrible, and he was absolutely fine, so we just watched him for a while. So yeah, and the result of that is we've always meant to get cat cams because we're completely odd about our cats, so we've always wanted to like stalk them when we're not in, which isn't often because we're homebods. But we have ordered the cat cams. I think they've just arrived. So we were just thinking about how funny it would be to be able to like replay the wasp battle and like Albus losing. So yeah, that's some news. I don't really, sorry, I'm gonna have to be weird with my hands. I don't really think any of this is too hot. I don't even know why I'm attempting to drink it. It's minty. It takes a while to cool down. Is there anything else? I have been doing lots of walking, and I mean by lots of walking I've not been like walking for miles a day, but I'm in the least pain when I'm not touching anything. And what I mean by that is because of the problems in my arms, I've got lots of pain in like my neck, and it goes up to my head and sometimes my legs, and so when I sit down it's really hard to get comfortable. There's always something where like there's pressure on an elbow or on a shoulder, or the neck feels a bit crooked and it's just not comfortable. So I like to walk as much as possible because that's when I feel in the least pain basically. And so I've been trying to, you know, and I would have walked to work before, so I would have done probably 5 miles of walking each day, which is now cut out. So I'm trying to do that. I've not been so great lately because of the heat, but I do want to get back into that, and that's a great way for me to audiobook. I am missing podcasts because obviously I'm replacing my podcast time with audiobook time, but when I get back into reading physical books I'll just have a massive exciting backlog of podcasts to get to. So yeah, that is where things are at. So like I said, I'll be doing just like informal catch-up videos about all the books I've read this summer. I know summer doesn't really officially start until the end of May, but I'm just going to call all the videos like summer reading wrap-up because I cannot be asked to be really pedantic about the seasons. I usually am, trust me. I get infuriated when people say it's summer in like late May and they're like, oh, we've not had a very good summer this year. I'm like, yeah, because we're in fucking spring, mate. Like, we are not in summer. I think there's two different ways of doing it, either the 1st of June or like the 21st of June, but either way, May is not summer, so I get really angry about this, as you can tell. So yeah, is that everything I have to say update wise? I mean, not much has happened. I've been off work, I've sat at home a lot, I've gone for walks a lot, I've eaten a lot of snacks, a lot of chocolate. I've got really into Tony's Chocolonely. I don't know if that's just the UK thing, but it is amazing. And there is one that's dark chocolate with almond and sea salt, and it's just absolutely phenomenal, although really expensive. And yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you're all well. I hope your family are well. I hope if you are working and you feel safe doing so, I hope that you are all, if you do have anxiety, like just generally or specifically to do with what's happening at the moment, I hope you're finding ways to manage it and people around you are supporting you. And I hope as much as possible you're finding joy in reading. Yeah, or like if you don't feel like reading, that's also absolutely fine. I've had times in my life where, like, I wouldn't even call it a reading slump because I feel like when you just don't feel like reading, that's absolutely fine. And I think as readers sometimes we like really beat ourselves up about that. But if you just feel like watching cooking shows and not reading for 5 weeks, that's fine. No one's gonna have a go at you, nothing's gonna happen. The books you want to read are still going to be there when those 5 weeks are over, and you're going to have loved all those cooking shows, so it's absolutely fine. So yeah, I think it's just important to try and, I think when some of us are as deep into this bookish world as we are, it's really hard not to get really hooked up on the idea of, you know, like, I know I keep beating myself up because I'm like, you know, I've never been off work long-term sick, and I keep thinking to myself like, you know, this is the only opportunity I'd have to read a ridiculous amount of books, right? But I'm not. I'm reading way less than I usually would, like 5 books a month maybe, because I'm in pain and because I can't read physical books and audiobooks take me longer and all these things. And I keep getting annoyed about that. I keep looking at all the physical books on my book trolley and thinking, oh, like you could be reading all those and like this is the perfect time, whatever that means. It's not the perfect time. And I have to just let that go and just accept that that's not going to happen. And I had all these grand notions this year to reduce my physical TBR, which is not happening because I'm having to audiobook and I don't want to pay for audiobooks that I already own a physical copy of. It just seems silly, and loads of the books on Scribd are like way more focused on North American publications than the books I have here. So anyway, that challenge may have gone out the window. I still would like to have less of a physical TBR, but I'm just accepting that like to do with like all this health stuff is just not going to be a thing this year. So yeah. So anyway, this is a long way to say I will be trying to do videos again. I hope you're all well, and just yeah, chat down below. I'm going to be really shit at responding. I mean, I'm always really shit at responding to comments, but you know, I really struggle to type, so I'll try as much as possible to get Johnny to help and stuff like that. And also, like, I need to look into software that like recognises my voice and does typing for me maybe. But yeah, just know that I am like really grateful for any comments and hoping you're all well, and I will try as much as possible to like communicate that in some way or another. So yeah, I'm gonna have my tea now because it's probably cooled down a little bit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you hopefully very, very soon. Bye.